are you going?
Welcome, everyone. I am your Heavenly Father. I apparently am not part of this broadcast. I'm supposed to be there in the lower corner, but I'm not. So, all right. I guess we're doing this without me tonight. I don't know why. Give me just a moment to figure out why I'm not actually visible on this. Let me plug out and plug back in again, and we'll see what happens. I may be doing this incognito this whole night. So I'm here. Hopefully you can hear me. We're going to watch Mr. Biden here. We should be calling him President Biden right now because he will win the presidency. I called it. It's official because I called it. If you didn't see it, I'm going to make it official right now. That's a graphic. So that's official. Okay? That's how that works. I can be part of the media. Look, if Breitbart and The Blaze can be part of the media, and I know you can't see me, so imagine me making air quotes with my fingers around the media, then I can be part of the media. So good to see everybody. Let's get going with this. This is President Biden making his first speech as president-elect.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We don't have a final declaration of victory yet, but the numbers tell us it's clear. Tell us a clear and convincing story. We're going to win this race. Just look at what has happened since yesterday. 24 hours, we were behind in Georgia. Now we're ahead, and we're going to win that state. 24 hours ago, we were behind in Pennsylvania, and we are going to win Pennsylvania. And now we're ahead, but we're winning in Arizona, we're winning in Nevada, and in fact, our lead just doubled in Nevada. We're on track to over 300 electoral college votes. And look at the national numbers. We're going to win this race with a clear majority of the nation behind us. We've gotten over 74 million votes. Let me repeat that, 74 million votes. That's more than any presidential ticket has ever gotten in the history of the United States of America. And our vote total is still growing. We're beating Donald Trump by over 4 million votes. And that's a margin that's still growing as well. One of the things I'm especially proud of is how well we've done across America. And we're going to be the first Democrat to win in Arizona in 24 years. We're going to be the first Democrat to win Georgia in 28 years. And we've rebuilt the blue wall in the middle of the country that crumbled just 4 years ago. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, the heartland of this nation. I know watching these vote tallies on TV moves very slow, and as slow as it goes, it can be numbing. But never forget, the tallies aren't just numbers. They represent votes and voters, men and women who exercise their fundamental right to have their voice heard. And what's becoming clear each hour is that record number of Americans of all races, faiths, religions chose change over more of the same. They've given us a mandate for action on COVID, the economy, climate change, systemic racism. They made it clear they want the country to come together, not continue to pull apart. The people spoke, more than 74 million Americans, and they spoke loudly for our ticket. But while we're waiting for the final results, I want people to know we're not waiting to get the work done and start the process. Yesterday, Senator Harris and I held meetings with groups of experts on public health and the economic crisis this country is facing. The pandemic, as you also know, is getting more worrisome all across the country. Daily cases are skyrocketing, and it's now believed that we could see as many as 200,000 cases in a single day. The death toll is approaching 240,000 lives lost to this virus. That's 240,000 empty chairs, kitchen tables, and dining room tables all across America. We'll never be able to measure all that pain and the loss, the suffering that so many families have experienced. We know something about what it feels like to lose someone. And I want them to know they're not alone. Our hearts break with you. I want everyone to know on day one, we're going to put our plan to control this virus into action. We can't save any of the lives lost, any of those have been lost, but we can save a lot of lives in the months ahead. Senator Harris and I also heard yesterday about how this recovery is slowing because of the failure to get the pandemic under control. More than 20 million people are on unemployment. Millions are worried about making rent and putting food on the table. Our economic plan will put a focus on a path to a strong recovery. Look, we both know tensions are high. They can be high after a tough election, one like we've had. But we need to remember, we have to remain calm, patient. Let the process work out as we count all the votes. You know, we're proving again what we've proved for 244 years in this country. Democracy works. Your vote will be counted. I don't care how hard people try to stop it. I will not let it happen. The people will be heard. Our journey is toward a more perfect union, and it keeps moving on. In America, we hold strong views. We have strong disagreements, and that's okay. Strong disagreements are inevitable in a democracy, and strong disagreements are healthy. They're a sign of a vigorous debate, of deeply held views. But we have to remember, the purpose of our politics isn't total, unrelenting, unending warfare. No, the purpose of our politics, the work of the nation, isn't to fan the flames of conflict, but to solve problems, to guarantee justice, to give everybody a fair shot, and to improve the lives of our people. We may be opponents, but we're not enemies. We're Americans. No matter who you voted for, I'm certain of one thing. The vast majority of almost 150 million Americans who voted, they want to get the vitriol out of our politics. We're certainly not going to agree on a lot of issues, but at least we can agree to be civil with one another. We have to put the anger and the demonization behind us. It's time for us to come together as a nation to heal. It's not going to be easy, but we have to try. My responsibility as president will be to represent the whole nation. And I want you to know that I'll work as hard for those who voted against me as those who voted for me. That's the job. That's the job. It's called the duty of care for all Americans. We have serious problems to deal with, from COVID to the economy to racial justice to climate change. We don't have any more time to waste on partisan warfare. You know, and more than that, we have such an incredible opportunity to build the future we want for our kids and our grandkids. I've said many, many times, I've never been more optimistic about the future of this nation. There is no reason we can't own the 21st century. We just need to remember who we are. This is the United States of America. And there's never been anything we've been unable to do, unable to accomplish when we've done it together. I hope to be talking to you tomorrow. I want to thank you all, and may God bless you, and may God protect our troops. Good night.
Well, thank God Kamala was there. So that was your president, ladies and gentlemen. I've called it. So Mark Meadows has the corona. Mark Meadows, by the way, and that's me, you can see on the screen there. I fixed the webcam. I got my hair done. My hair's grown a lot since the coronavirus. I haven't had a haircut, and I figured, you know, I could probably dye it myself, so I did. And I think it looks good. It really, really highlights the green in my eyes, which is why you can, my eyes are so green, you can see the C-SPAN logo right behind them. So that's kind of cool. I'm not trying to brag. But I'm so beautiful, especially my voice. I don't know why my webcam is working, and I don't think anybody cares. Mr. Meadows, Mr. Mark Meadows, the White House Chief of Staff, he attended. I just found out, thanks to Marcy in the chat room here, that Mark Meadows has the Cove. He attended the White House party on election night. We were told that everybody at that party was tested. He likely, since it's a 4 to 7 day incubation period, he likely had the Cove at that party, but didn't test positive, if he was tested at all. This is one of my favorite clips of Mr. Meadows right here. Let's go back and let's review Mr. Meadows. Why don't you go ahead and show us what you were doing just a couple of weeks back?
I tell you what, let me do this. Let me pull this away.
Yep, pull away.
And then
Yep, pull away, said every girl he's ever been with.
that way I can take this off the top. Well, I'm more than 10 feet away. I'm not, well,
It's really contagious, Mr. Meadows. You know what? You know what? You guys aren't the boss of me. I don't know.
where are you going?
That's our friend, Mr. Meadows. And then, of course, let me pull this up. You can't even see what I'm looking at, so haha, nana boo-boo. My computer crashed right before this when I came home and tried to start it up so I could talk to you folks, you good people. It crashed on me, and then I reset it, and now I don't have a webcam. So be it. Hold on, because I want to find something else that you folks will enjoy about the Mr. Meadows here. This is him just 2 weeks ago. Did I not call it Meadows? I may not have called it Meadows. Give me a second here. Let me look for the date that I'm looking for. Come on. I made it. Where is it? How are you guys, by the way? You guys chat to yourself. I'm actually a better singer than I just sang, just so you know. Especially with my beautiful falsetto. And by the keyword is false. In that, where did I find it? Oh, I know what I called it. Hold on. Here it is. Here it is. How it started is what I called this. And here it is right here. So this is Mr. Meadows.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine. Our country is under control. We have it very much under control in this country. And everything is under control. Everything's really under control. We have it so well under control.
What's the definition of control? Yeah. Under the
It's giving them a false sense of
right
security.
now, I think it's under control. It's under control.
Chief of Staff has that pretty much under control.
We're not going to control the pandemic. We're not going to control the pandemic.
You don't have to vote anymore. Do not vote.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Did you like my dancing during that whole segment? That's Mark Meadows. We're not going to control the virus. We're not going to control the virus. That was the 25th. So the 24th is when he said it, I believe, on the Sundays. Whatever that Sunday was, it might have been the 25th. I can find out because I'm competent. Give me a second here. The 25th. Yeah, no, it was the 25th that he said that. I made that the same day. So, Mr. Meadows has the deal. Let's check in on some numbers, kids. Let's take a look-see here. I apparently caught the corona just from watching that. That's how contagious it is, and that's why you can't be too careful. Let's check out everybody saying that it's too close to call. It isn't. I called it. Go ahead, play it. Go ahead and go play.
1 million votes.
We saw that.
That's more than any presidential ticket has ever gotten in the history of the United States of America. And what's becoming clear each hour is that record number of Americans of all races, faiths, religions
Yeah, go.
chose change.
It doesn't want to
over
change
more
that
of the
for me.
same.
Here we go. Oh, good. This will be the Fox critique of that. Let's find out what this is.
Coronavirus and how to re-engage with global partners in the fight against the pandemic, also the economy, getting the stimulus moving, and some justice reforms. Now we'll move on to election night 4.0, might be 5.0 at this point, but there is a feeling among some staffers that this big moment is really overdue.
Oh, they're recapping. Thanks, Lizzie. Top of the hour. I don't know how time works. So let's go back. We can watch a little bit of this again.
Track to over 300 electoral votes, electoral college votes. And look at
Oh, they're just showing the whole thing again. We don't want to watch that. Let's go back and see what Fox has to say.
Sources tell me part of the reason is because he's superstitious, doesn't want to do that, but the
Time is a construct.
bigger reason, the more important reason, is because he feels it's important that Americans watch the democratic process play out, and he's going to hold on until that is finished before claiming any sort of victory, Shannon.
Big D Democratic.
Yeah, and with all this legal wrangling, you wonder how long it will be for the two sides, but we'll stay tuned, and we know you are as well, Jackie. Thank you. So,
There's nothing about the legal wrangling that's going to make a difference. Don't believe them.
Trump supporters rallying today outside of Michigan vote counting center in Detroit, echoing the
good.
president's sentiment that they want every legal vote counted.
Oh,
Correspondent
good.
Leland Vittert has the very latest.
I'm sure that's what they were chanting. Count the vote. Count the vote. That's how much they love democracy.
The Trump campaign tonight. Good evening, Leland.
Good evening, and what is between the two camps is what defines the word legal. Bottom line first, Shannon, the president and his team are ready to fight and say they won't go down without a fight. President Trump is in it for the long haul, according to his campaign. Sources telling Fox News.
Well, yeah. If he's not in it for the long haul, he's in the long haul in the pen doing 5 to 10.
He has no intention of conceding. In a statement, the president saying, "This is about the integrity of our entire election process. We will pursue this process through every aspect of the law to guarantee the American people have confidence in our government."
The American people voted for Joe, by the way.
Their argument varies by state and circumstance, but the party line goes, every legal vote should be counted, now centering the argument on which ballots may be illegal. And now the Trump campaign is starting to offer proof of their claims of fraud.
So I'll give you one example.
Hold on. What did he just say?
The party line goes, every legal vote should be counted, now centering the argument on which ballots may be illegal. And now the Trump campaign is starting to offer proof of their claims of fraud.
Proof. He said proof. Here's Corey Lewandowski.
Fraud.
More like Corey Loserdowski. Womp womp.
So I'll give you one example.
Okay.
A woman contacted us who owns a funeral home. She went through the last 12 people who she buried. We found that we looked up one of the gentlemen. He registered to vote 6 days after he had been buried in the ground and voted in the election here in the state of Pennsylvania.
That is not true. That is just not true. Guarantee it.
The Trump campaign has set up a voter fraud hotline, and the internet is awash in voter fraud stories.
Maybe somebody with the same name. This is the mistake they make all the time. A Howard Johnson voted. Oh, there's a Howard Johnson that's dead. Must be the same guy. Trust me, with a name like Kevin Williams, you run into this all the time.
But not all our Republicans are on
Yeah, so they set up a voter hotline. Guess who's calling the voter hotline? Democrats. Just making stuff up.
board with.
We should all call 888-630-1776. That's 888-630-LIES.
The president's philosophy. Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger tweeted, "We want every vote counted. Yes, every legal vote, of course. But if you have legit concerns about fraud, present evidence and take it to court. Stop spreading debunk misinformation. This is getting insane." The president himself tweeted, "Joe Biden should not wrongfully claim the office of president. I could make that claim also. Legal proceedings are just now beginning. I had such a big lead."
He has made that claim. You don't get to be president by claiming that you're president.
In all these states late into election night, only to see the lead miraculously disappear as the days went by. Perhaps these leads will return as our legal proceedings move forward. Shannon, I mentioned to you that when I talked to a source last night inside the Trump campaign, he said, quote, "The president is going to win Arizona and Pennsylvania."
No, I'm sure that the funeral director probably called the offices, called that hotline and said, "Hey, I looked and somebody voted by this name in Pennsylvania, but I just buried this guy." Okay, sure.
I asked him for comment tonight after Joe Biden's comments earlier, and he simply wrote back, would just refer you to the president's statement of earlier today. Whether that's a change in tone or tenor from the campaign, let the viewers be the judge.
Well, the president is not.
Well, that's not the way it works. It's not the viewers. It's the votes. The votes get.
Backing down, not giving up. So we'll stick with that and follow this where it leads us. Leland, thank you. Well, tonight, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito has gotten directly involved in the legal disputes raging in Pennsylvania. County boards of elections there were supposed to be segregating ballots received after 8 p.m. on Election Day and securely locking them down for the time being, while the fight over whether they should eventually be counted continues. Well, today, the Pennsylvania GOP asked the Supreme Court for an emergency order after it was unable to get at least 25 of the county boards to confirm they've actually been doing that with these votes. Tonight, Alito has ordered every county election board in Pennsylvania to segregate out and secure those late arriving ballots for now. The Pennsylvania GOP also asked that the
that's like 2 weeks old now.
County boards be ordered not to do anything further with the ballots, like tally them. Alito did not address that in his emergency order, but did say he is referring the full request to the full court and asked the opposing side to file something no later than 2 p.m. tomorrow. By the way, we got it tonight. They didn't waste any time. Pennsylvania Democrats there say that there is no proof that these county boards aren't complying, and they are opposed to this order.
And it's fine, by the way. It's absolutely fine, because right now Biden is in the lead. The last thing we want is for the lead to flip-flop, which, by the way, it can't. Yes, it could. I'm making air quotes again, but you can't see it. It could technically go Trump's way if every single vote turns out to be a vote for Trump.
Telling those county boards to do just that. Okay, we'll keep you updated. We continue to closely monitor Pennsylvania, where Joe Biden's lead has expanded. Outside the convention center in Philly, where poll workers continue to count ballots around the clock. Today, there have been crowds off and on both sides of the aisle wanting to get a look at what's happening. Correspondent Aisha Hasni is reporting there live in Philly tonight. Good evening, Aisha.
Good evening, Shannon. Yeah, so the crowds are gone. They left a couple of hours ago. They should be back tomorrow as long as that vote counting continues. And it does continue into the wee hours of the night. It goes on 24/7. And as it continues, as they continue to count those mail-in ballots, former Vice President Biden's lead continues to grow here in Pennsylvania. So let's look at the numbers right now as to where they stand. 89,000 mail-in ballots remain left to be counted here in Pennsylvania. 21,000 here in the city of Philadelphia. Plus, don't forget, there's those military and overseas ballots.
LP, I couldn't go anywhere because of the COVID, so I figured I'd get dressed up and just have a party at home.
It's two that aren't due until next week. Now, election officials say it's going to be a couple of days, several days, in fact, before we have a conclusion here. But some Democrats are already claiming a victory for Biden.
I think what
I'm not a Democrat, and I'm claiming victory for Biden.
the president needs to do is, frankly, put his big boy pants on. He needs to acknowledge the fact that he lost, and he needs to congratulate the winner, just as Jimmy Carter did, just as George H.W. Bush did, and frankly, just as Al Gore did.
Those votes, the late votes, were not only dumped by being delivered, not only dumped, they were jammed down our throats. And then they were rammed down our throats. And then we were told we couldn't find out what was in those votes until we opened them.
And stop this.
So why hasn't this race been called yet? It's been a couple of days now since Election Day, and the answer is this race is just too close, and there's a lot of uncertainty over those mail-in ballots. The Trump campaign and the Republicans in this state are waging several different legal battles when it comes to those mail-in ballots, especially the 4,000 mail-in ballots that were postmarked on Election Day, but then arrived to the voting centers 3 days later. Up until today, the Secretary of the Commonwealth, of course, has said that those are allowed to be counted. But the Trump campaign says that the deadline extension was done unlawfully, and they don't want these ballots counted. And as you mentioned just a short while ago, Shannon, SCOTUS has now ordered that all Pennsylvania mail-in ballots received after 8 o'clock on Election Day be segregated, put to the side, but also be secured. And if they are counted, they must be counted separately in a different pile. compiled. But again, those Biden supporters, they really want those, every single one of those mail-in ballots counted. They believe that if those are counted, then they will have won. They will be on this side of history, that they will have elected a new president.
Okay, that's even without those ballots, Biden already has the lead in Pennsylvania. That's not. I'm a YouTubing.
And put that president into the White House. Shannon?
All right, and just the framing, it's just so ridiculous. Let's go back and what's his face is on the TV here. Let's go watch what's his face. See if CNN was recording it.
On him, he came out, addressed the nation tonight. Electoral votes at stake. The president must win Georgia if he wants to win the Electoral College. 4,395 votes to Biden's favor right now. The other two
insanity.
States, Arizona, 11 electoral votes, 29,861 now the margin for Biden. Votes still coming in there. We will look at it. Again, very, very close. Nevada, 6 electoral votes, 22,657 the margin there. The vote still coming in Nevada as well. And it's
I don't know why they haven't given Nevada to Joe already. I think maybe just to make it interesting. I know that's not the way it works. The people who actually make the call in the counting rooms, they're mathematicians. They're statisticians. They know how this works. And that's fine. They haven't made this call. But come on. He's increasing his lead. He's never been behind in Nevada, and he's been increasing his lead.
all important. Clark County, where Las Vegas is. All right, let's look at the big map. Get out of the way of the numbers. 253, 213. Why does it keep staying that way? Because you want to get it right. And we know what's happening. We see the trend lines, as Phil Mattingly says. But if you rush it and you get it wrong, it's too big a problem to justify the speed in the first place. So let's get to Mattingly, Phil Mattingly over at the Magic Wall, get the state of play. What would you say is the top line of where we are right now?
Look, the top line is it's pretty apparent.
He's wearing running shoes. Did you guys see that? Chris is just wearing running shoes on the set.
Get it
By the way, I mean, I'm one to talk. I'm sitting here in slippers and nothing else.
wrong. It's too big a problem to justify the speed in the first place.
Biden is in a very good position. Joe Biden is on the brink of surpassing 270 electoral votes. Why? Well, you start with the state of Pennsylvania, where he's raced into a lead. That's 20 electoral votes. If he wins that state, he's over 270. Also leading in the state of Arizona, leading in the state of Nevada. If those two are called before Pennsylvania, that gets him to 270 electoral votes as well. Georgia obviously took the lead early in the morning, yesterday morning. Who knows? And while that's likely headed to a recount, obviously that would be a flip. That would be a huge deal. First Democrat to win the state since 1992. I think the big outstanding question, or maybe the big elephant in the room, is why has this race why has Pennsylvania not been called? What's outstanding in Arizona? What's outstanding in Nevada? Look, the reality is this. There is a universe of vote that's outstanding in the state of Pennsylvania, in the state of Arizona, where the margin has tightened for President Trump over the course of the last 24 hours, and in Nevada. And decision desks, including our own, are getting the sense of the full universe. And when they feel comfortable that when you put everything together and do the math, there's no way that Joe Biden could be surpassed, that is when races are called. That is when the calls are made. And I think when you look at Pennsylvania right now, you've got just shy of about 90,000 votes outstanding. Everybody's kind of paying attention to the provisional ballots, too, trying to get a full sense of where those stand, where those come from, the counties they come through, what they might turn out to be. That explains, to this point, why Pennsylvania, even though, look, we've been talking about this for 2 days. We know where it's going. We saw it happening when President Trump still had a couple 100,000 vote lead. We saw it happen in Wisconsin. We saw it happen in Michigan. Same deal in Pennsylvania.
I like this over here. It's all blue now. All blue. They've just taken North Carolina off the board. They don't even care anymore. All blue, baby.
Pennsylvania, Joe Biden's lead, based on what we've seen, based on what's outstanding and where that vote is only likely to grow over the course of the next 12 to 16 hours as more votes are reported. However, make sure you understand the full universe. Let everybody count. The counting takes time. That's Pennsylvania. Arizona, I think the big outstanding issue, besides the fact that there's about 140,000 votes left outstanding, is that has tightened. And we're trying to get a better sense of the universe in terms of Maricopa County. It's the largest county in the state. We can go in there real quick and look at it. It's the largest county in the state. It's more than half of the outstanding vote. It's 60% of the population. It has tightened over the course of the last 24 hours, but you look at the margin right now for Joe Biden, Donald Trump needs to hit a specific margin with all of the outstanding vote in Arizona to even have a chance to get close.
Bill.
And he's missed that the last couple times. Yes, Harry.
Would you say that the president is hitting his margins in Arizona? I believe, looking at the count, we were discussing this, I think, as early as Tuesday or Wednesday night, that the president had to hit certain thresholds. And it's my understanding that he's not hitting them, even as he's sort of been closing the gap in the state.
That is a fact. I think the president needed to be hitting somewhere between 55 and 56 for a period of time.
Give me the why. Give me the why on that. Why does he have to win a certain percentage?
No, Chris, no one needs to know that. Everybody understands how that works.
It's math.
Thank you. It's math. Come on. Put on some shoes and get back to your desk.
Oh, that sounds
and then you can take your shoes off.
Simplistic, but
insulting. But go ahead.
No.
Yeah, it is, because it was a really stupid question for you, Chris.
Votes, and there's 100.
Chris is asking for the viewers, but those people are watching Fox right now. So
140 votes left outstanding. Donald Trump needs to overperform the mean in order to close the gap there. It's the same thing that Joe Biden had to do in Pennsylvania, that he successfully did to overtake President Trump.
It's not enough to just beat Biden. You have to beat him at a rate that makes up for the gap that you're closing.
And to Harry's point, what we saw over the course of the last 24 hours is vote coming in.
I really wish he'd said just basic math. That would have been a little bit better, but still, good answer.
From Republican strongholds, vote coming in from here, vote coming in from here, vote coming in from Pinal as well. And that vote came in pretty high for President Trump. It was a couple thousand votes. It narrowed the margin even more. But when Maricopa has come in, and Harry, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the last couple batches from Maricopa, President Trump has won them, I guess, on net, but he's come under the threshold that he needs to hit to be able to overtake. I think to Harry's point, when you talk to Democrats on the ground in Arizona and Republicans who are cogently looking through things, they think Joe Biden is probably in pretty good shape there. But when there's 140,000 votes outstanding, Maricopa is a swing county at this point in time, although it's moved towards Democrats, and Joe Biden's only up by 29,000 votes. That is the best explanation I can give, with the full acknowledgement that I'm not the one that makes the decisions here about when these things happen.
That's right. It's a small margin. There's also a small margin for error. Right. Because even though the president has to overperform, you're not dealing with that many votes. So it's tricky. Perfectly explained, and thank you. Harry, thank you as well. Now, another problem that we have in this is that this is new, this volume of absentee ballots, okay? But the dynamic isn't new. What is new is we have never had a president in our lifetimes, let alone someone running for president, challenge fraud in the system without any proof. That's what Trump did. So now we're in a situation where he put down a claim with no proof and keeps promising that it will come. I know that's a familiar dynamic, but when you're messing with the democracy, it's different than just saying,
hold on, it's official, guys. I just saw this as a clip on the internet. Let's watch. Full screen. Someone posted this. Lizzie found this on Twitch. I'm Kevin Lee Father. I'm officially calling this election. Congratulations, Vice President Kamala Harris, the first female in the White House, and Vice President, now President, Joseph R. Biden. Oh, it works. Ha! That's it. That was when I didn't know his middle name was Robinette or whatever it is. Let me get rid of that. Thanks, Lizzie. That's awesome.
my health care plan is coming.
I haven't seen my own graphic because I can't. Well, I've seen the graphic, but I can't hear the graphic when I play it.
Different. So let's go to.
So it's official. That's
in
cool.
Washington,
Thanks, Lizzie.
DC. What have you heard about how real any lawsuits are coming anytime soon?
Well, the campaign has threatened them. They've also threatened to ask for multiple recounts in any states where the margin is anywhere near close. And so they do seem to be preparing some kind of legal effort to challenge this, because they have been having the campaign attorneys at the headquarters basically all day, meeting with several White House officials, on the phone with the president as well. But of course, the question is whether or not they're going to have merit to stand on, and if those are actually going to make it through the court system, or if they're going to be dismissed, or if they're just procedural moves, which is what we've seen the Trump campaign make so far. It's not something that's actually going to change the outcome of the election, but it could buy them some time where the president can continue to tweet and try to sow doubt about the outcome of these results, as we've seen him do, Chris, since his lead started to diminish on Tuesday morning or on Wednesday morning as these votes.
Hold on. Christopher's here and he's glad to be here. Christopher Ryan, we're also glad that you're here.
Votes, the mail-in ballots were being counted. Now, the question is, who is doing this litigating for the president? Because they've assembled this legal team where you've seen...
My question for you, and I'm glad you're here so you can help answer this question, Christopher Ryan, and hello to the other Chris as well, of course. My question, and I think basically most of the media is ignoring this right now, and I don't know why, but what we have to ask ourselves at this point, what is it? It's Friday? Is it? Yeah. So three full days now. 3 full days at 9:22 after all of the polls. So 72 hours. 72 hours and 22 minutes since every single poll in the United States closed, and that includes Hawaii, because they closed an hour late. The question should be, has Caitlin Collins ever had a bad hair day? Look at this. She hasn't slept in 4 days, and her hair is perfect. It is not only on fleek, it is fleek. And no one's asking those questions, and that's why you come to me, your Heavenly Father, on the live stream, because I will ask those questions. And the answer is, she has never had a bad hair day. The judges agree. Back to Caitlin.
Rudy Giuliani, the former Florida Attorney General, Pam Bondi, a few others who were involved, but the president himself, based on the sources that we've been speaking.
Caitlin Collins does hurricane coverage. Hair is exactly like that. Exactly. Not a single strand.
With doesn't seem to be happy with that team, and he's been questioning if they're actually going to be effective, if they are going to be heavyweights, and whether or not he should get other attorneys added to the team. Now, that raises questions why this is just now being a conversation that the president is having with his staff, because Chris, he's been forecasting for several weeks now that he was going to challenge the outcome of these results if he didn't like.
Now, that's not to say that my hair isn't absolutely loving it today. I mean, you could it's crimson, really, with the light, the studio's lights that I've gotten. I've got 2 LEDs, one to my left and one to my right. You guys can't see it because my webcam's on, but you can see my hair. And I think it's crimson in the sunlight, but you can see there it looks sort of a bright red. But this is actually my natural color. I've gone back to my natural color.
Like them if they did not come out in his favor, regardless of whether or not the fraud had actually happened. They decided before the election even got started, before voters even.
I have brushed my hair with that. What's that word again? Fork. What? What's a fire and why does it? Ariel, you have fires under the water. I don't know what accent I'm doing right now. I've totally lost the ability to do a Caribbean accent from a crab, just so you know. Man, I used to be so good at that. Well, you get older, you know? The whole point of where I was going with that, I wanted to call it a joke for a second, but it's not a joke. It's serious. Ariel has fire under the water. There are fires. They have volcanoes that erupt lava and create fire under the water, and that lava, it burns. By the way, if you missed the broadcast earlier tonight, you missed me showing everyone my burn. And you can't see it now because the webcam's off, except just all you can see is me. That's a still picture of me. I took it earlier today. What's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn. You know what? You've been burned. If you've played with that volcano, that is why King Neptune is always telling you, stay away from the red flowy stuff. I don't think Ariel... It's like if they took her voice away, it's not really that big of a loss. That's what I'm saying. Call me a romantic.
Went to the polls on Tuesday that there was going to be fraud in this.
Who took her voice away? First answer wins.
Election. And so the president is unhappy with his legal team. It's unclear where that's going to go from here. But we've even heard from senior White House officials and senior Trump campaign officials who aren't pleased with the team because they feel like if they're going to go out, if they're going to be on TV and making these allegations, they want to have a serious...
Ursula Hardlens Mona comes in with the correct answer before Lizzie Dog because Hardlens is on YouTube. Now, Lizzie Dog probably typed that answer in first, but she's on Twitch, so her answer came in after. But on Twitch, she can say penis. So there's trade-offs. Everything is a checks and balance. And one more chance. What are the name of Ursula's eels? What are the names of Ursula's eels? Is that Ursula's eels? What are they called?
heavyweight legal team behind them, like they did in the 2000 Florida recount, something that they've repeatedly compared their attempts to, though of course it's quite different. They do not have that, to say the least, in Rudy Giuliani, in Pam Bondi, who was there for the president's impeachment defense. That's not how it's viewed internally at the White House, at least.
You know, having top...
Lizzie Dog is correct. Floppy penis and gloppy penis were the names of Ursula's eels. Oh dear. Speaking of floppy penises, Trump's speaking. No, he's not. That's just the joke. One final question. What is the best cartoon name? What is the best cartoon name for a cartoon character of all time?
Practitioners isn't the bar. It's really having top-level proof. And I think that this being as obvious and as thin as you point out, Caitlin, as a device, it may be hard to get good talent to come in on this. You know, this isn't like everyone
Definitely.
deserves a defense. This is a naked allegation against the fundamentals of our democracy. Thank you for the reporting, as always. Let's bring a true pro-practitioner, Ben Ginsburg, longtime Republican election lawyer.
So Ben Ginsburg is almost solely responsible with his team for Bush being in the White House. He's a Republican lawyer dealing with election law. That's his specialty. So it's interesting to hear what he has to say about this.
Friend of show. Good to see you, Counselor.
Good to see you, Chris.
So let's chew on this a little bit. The president says it's all a fraud. It's all a scam. The Democrats did it. The mail-in ballots, no transparency. They're cheating. There are stories all over the country. They all have to go. The chance of finding any legitimacy for that kind of claim in the judiciary?
I think very little. I know from bitter experience that if you don't have the proof of fraud and irregularities on Election Day with real-time affidavits and other sworn statements, you're not going to get them trying to recreate it after the election. What Caitlin was reporting about the legal talent is part and parcel of that. You really have to have sort of red meat litigators on the ground, ready to go, talking to people in the polling places to get their affidavits. And Chris, you know, the other problem is that the president and the Republican National
I'm giving half points for Carlos Danger. That sounds like this.
Committee and Republican parties brought 40 suits around the country before the election in an attempt to sort of tilt the playing field in their favor. And you know what? It's an abysmal track record on those cases. So there was a hint of this beforehand. They've weakened themselves by those cases having such a poor track record. And now the allegations of fraud ring as false as the cases were before the election.
Half step to the side, Counselor. Phone rings. You pick it up. They say, hey, Ben, you took care of us with Bush v. Gore. We need the best. It's time to step up. Team needs you. Help us prove that there's fraud all over the country. Do you take the call?
Speedy Gonzalez is a little bit too on the nose, but it's a good name.
Well, if I picked it up, I don't have a choice but to take it.
Do you take
Foghorn Leghorn? Good choice. Not the answer.
the call to
But
duty?
I would tell them,
Don't parse.
no, I mean, it's too late. It's too late. And I think they're going to have problems now recruiting the legal team of their dreams. I mean, in Florida, by the Friday after the election, we had every Supreme Court clerk and experienced practitioner we could find down in Florida or lined up to come to Florida.
Yeah, some of them
Ted
are on the
Olson,
court now.
who ultimately,
Right?
some
yeah,
of
you have
the
Coney
third of the
Barrett
court,
on there.
third of
You've
the
got
court.
Kavanaugh,
Yeah.
or people who are involved with Bush v. Gore.
and Justice Roberts
Yep.
were all helping us out. And so it was a quick recruitment effort.
All right, so now the next big issue are these unknowns, but big fears. So the race gets called, Biden wins Pennsylvania. It's over. No, it's just beginning. What happens if the
Mona Carmona is a very, very good cartoon name. Really, especially if it was a porno cartoon.
president says, I do not concede there is fraud, and even though the courts won't help me on it, they're part of the fraud. Now what happens?
Well, what happens is that he does have a legitimate avenue to pursue his grievances under the recount laws and contest laws of the individual states. It's not a rhetorical play. They actually have to present proof if they're going to contest the elections. They certainly have the right in the narrow margin states to ask for a recount. And, you know, the thing about recounts is that they can expose flaws in the system, right? We have 10,500 jurisdictions. It's run by volunteers.
So his really only shot there is Pennsylvania, because the narrative breaks down in terms of there was a conspiracy if it's Georgia.
Oh, here's a trivia question. What is Jessica Rabbit's maiden name?
Or Arizona, because you got Republican administrations there. Why would they go bad on their own? So if it's Pennsylvania and they do the review and they do the recount and everything's still there, what if he refuses to concede? It's not in the Constitution. It's a tradition, and we've never tested it.
It is, and frankly, it's irrelevant to the legal process side. It means a lot in bringing the country together and the politics of the situation, but as a legal matter, it is not of no concern to the legal process whether he formally concedes or not. In fact, the processes in the state will move along. The states will certify the election results in the precincts and counties. They will, once they've certified the results, they'll pick the slate of electors. That slate will go to the House of Representatives on January 6th, and the Electoral College winner will
Krupnik is correct with a K.
Will be declared.
You know, I lived through 2000, and I remember at the time we were like, boy, we'll never see anything like this again. That was boring compared to what we're looking at right now. Ben Ginsburg, as always.
You know what? The old man who screamed warnings in Poltergeist is right. Biden's going to be the president. Let's see if anything else is going on interesting here. Really, the reason I broadcast these, the number two reason is so that I can inform my public. That's you guys watching right now. Because I feel like I'm doing a service. And the number one reason, of course, is so that I can look at myself on my computer. And without the webcam, it just doesn't... I don't know. Doesn't do it for me, guys. Let's see what's going on with these guys. Who is this? What is this? The AG of Pennsylvania? No. Who is this?
But I also had a little help, Lawrence. I had the Voter Project, who is really good number crunchers.
Thank you, Chris, very much. Really appreciate it. And joining us now is Democratic Senator Bob Casey of
That's who it is, Bob
Senator
Casey, Pennsylvania.
Casey, thank you very much. I've been dying to talk to you all week, and I feel like I have been.
Bob Casey's one of those senators. There's 100 of them, by the way. Bob Casey's one of those senators, when you see him or you hear about him, you're like, oh, yeah, one of those guys. As opposed to Lindsey Graham, where you're just like, oh, for the love of, get off my TV. How many times a day do you have to be on Hannity? And Hannity's only on once a day.
Because I've been watching your video tweets explaining to us every day exactly what was going to happen in Pennsylvania. So for you, from the start, really, there has been no suspense. Tell us how we get the rest of the way in Pennsylvania.
Well, Lawrence, there's still some votes to count, as Chris was indicating, and there's some mail-in ballots yet to be counted. I'm not quite sure the total amount.
Yeah.
Of those.
Okay.
ballots.
No one knows. I don't want to keep you guys tonight. Nobody knows. Yeah, the best cartoon name is Meatball Cuomo. That's correct. I'm giving it to propaganda. Okay, kids. I'm going to fix my webcam and I'll be back. Not today. I think we're done for tonight. I don't think we're going to see any numbers of significance. And I think if we see any numbers of significance, no one's going to call this thing anyway. However, keep in mind, I've already called it. And it won't play now for some reason. Here, let me call it this way. There are graphics. It's official. Let's head out on this note, guys. Stay tuned for the credits so you can say goodbye to each other. Good night, LP. Good night, Lizzie Dog. When is a car not a car? When it's turning into a driveway. When is a car not a car? When it's turning into a driveway. When is a car not a car? Huh. Okay. Go back to floppy penis when you're stuck, is what I'm saying there, Lizzie. Stick with what you know. Propaganda says, this is depressing. I just want to find out who I'm fighting for the next 4 years. No. No. I forgot. I leaned back in my chair and I forgot totally what I was saying no to. So whatever the last comment that I read was, no. There you go. Yeah, I know. And a door is ajar. I get it. I got it. Thank you. We've reached that level of the evening. By the way, the name for the best cartoon character in history. Sorry, I forgot.
Where are you going?
The provisional ballots, they've begun that process.
Where are you going?
We started today with the ballots, but it has been a little anti-inflammatory.
Forward, I think they're going to be fairly benign, and it's going to be, further disappointment in the legitimacy of the process if the Supreme Court won't actually stand up for themselves.
I will say, that a few days ago, before the election, this language was in some of the response from the Supreme Court, including what Justice Alito had written. Sounds like they were under the impression this was happening and being enforced. And John, it sounds like until tonight, Justice Alito says, we didn't know that the order had changed from the Secretary of State and it wasn't being enforced. The GOP there in Pennsylvania also...
Where are you going?
Lizzie, I hate everybody. Your music gets stuck at random.
Thanks for that.